This is the Recycling, Scrap Metal Commodities and Economic Report, April 21st, 2025. U.S. weekly raw steel production fell to 1.689 million tons, down 0.4% from last year and down 1.3% year to date. U.S. products that include steel have higher prices now, and that's hurting domestic and export demand. WTI crude oil price rose to $64.68 a barrel. Sanctions on Iranian oil are hurting the global oil supply, but OPEC Plus has announced oil production increases, as Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan have cut their oil demand forecast. Importantly, tariffs are slowing the global economy, so that's hurting oil demand. U.S. weekly crude oil production rose slightly to 13.462 million barrels per day, staying in a tight range below December's all-time record high. U.S. oil companies remain watchful and concerned. Increased oil production by any country brings lower prices and lower profits for U.S. oil companies. The U.S. weekly crude oil count rose slightly to 481 as oil drillers are being careful to not overproduce. Scrap steel number 1 HMS composite price was steady at $362 a gross ton on a good supply with steady demand. Hot rolled coil steel price rose to $47 per hundredweight, which is $940 a ton, as tariffs are allowing for higher U.S. domestic steel prices. The U.S. is not able to ramp up production fast enough, so prices remain high. Copper price rose to $470 a pound. The administration's partial tariff reversal helped the markets, but China-U.S. trade war is starting to have negative effects on both economies. Aluminum price fell slightly to $1.08 a pound, which is $23.83 a metric ton. There is downward pressure on aluminum prices despite some tariff relief we talked about. China's Q1 2025 economic growth was 5.4% versus last year, helped by companies shipping before tariffs. This is great growth compared to the U.S.'s expected negative Q1, but tariffs are about to be a negative for China. U.S. dollar index, which is the U.S. dollar versus other global currencies. A currency falls when other countries are concerned about the country and do not invest in the country's bonds. It fell to 99.2, near a 3-year low on U.S. tariff policy uncertainty. A lower dollar means imports are more expensive for us and our exports are cheaper for others to buy. U.S. March housing starts plunged to 1.324 million annualized, under the 1950s 75 years ago. This was on the high home prices and higher mortgage rates. The administration's plan to lower mortgage rates has not happened yet. U.S. March industrial production fell 0.3% in February, but up 1.3% from last March. Warmer weather hurt utilities production. Manufacturing was actually up 0.3%, mining up 0.6%, but capacity utilization was 77.8%, which is 1.8% below the 52-year average. U.S. March retail sales jumped 1.4% over February. Excluding autos, it was up 0.5% as buyers bought to beat the tariffs. Wall Street's Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 1,071 points to 39,142. Tariff uncertainty concerns markets as inflation reality is kicking in. The current plan is that inflation will increase for the next 12 months and then slow. This is Greg Brown. As always, feel free to call or email me with any questions. We hope all have a safe and profitable week.